Attention passengers, this is your Captain Necro Sama speaking. And your favorite top flight crew has returned off our 1 week vacation. It was fun. We saw each other on vacation, watched some anime, read some manga. It was fun. So, you tuned in to Top Flight Reads, our weekly YouTube series where we check out some comics, some graphic novels, some mangas, some webtoons, whatever you want to call them, summarize them, give you our opinions on them, our feedback. Let's jump right into it with some introductions. Co-pilot Tiva, take it away.
All right. Taking off on a different day of the week. Not that you all would notice, but we know. And we know we're branching out. Ain't no weekend flights this time around. So check this out. About to take off on a cloudy weekday evening. Let's see if we can hit some sunshine at 34,000 feet as we take off into the sky. Flight attendants, do your thing.
Hello there, this is your flight attendant Storm Ray. It is good to be back. Ready to jump right into it? Let's get it going.
Hello and welcome to the flight. I'm your flight attendant Emil, and it's wonderful to see you all. Also, I hope you all enjoy the snack of today, which is Rice Krispie treats with extra marshmallows. Have a wonderful flight.
This is your flight attendant Akashik, who's a little confused since I thought we already recorded the intros.
I did.
But you know what? It was so nice that we had to do it twice. So we hope that you enjoy yourselves.
Well, this week on Top Flight Reads, we're checking out ShadowBorn, published by Plus Manga, created by DeAndre Buffett, Elias Shaman, and Esner. In the description below, we'll have a link to where you can check them out. Support them if you like it. Leave a like if you enjoyed this video. Subscribe if you want to see more. Drop a comment below if there's a series you want us to read. We'll see what we can do.
Attention passengers, we're about to take off on this cloudy weekday evening flight. Strap yourselves in. We're telling you that twice. Get your snacks. Have a snack attack. Runway. Get clear. We're taking off. Into the sky.
Mysterious tower looms over what may or may not be a bustling city. Could it lead to God? Apparently we'll find out later. In other news, day 745 of the year that shall not be named, we follow our hero who's too annoyed to eat his only meal in front of a crying, selfish little brat. Searching for such a place to enjoy such a gourmet street rat sandwich, he reunites with his old frenemies, conveniently being the open slide for the mission tonight to achieve his goal. Get more sandwiches at 9 o'clock. 9 o'clock? 9 o'clock.
Unlike Scrappy McJacket here, Beanie McSideburns clearly seems to understand Dred's the protagonist's little pattern of join, leave, rejoin. Get with the program, Scrappy, ya mook. And once he arrives, let's do the— hold it. There's planning afoot.
In a totally convenient stump in the woods. You got the plan, Stans? Uh-huh. Cool. They then head off on a mission that could potentially end or change their lives. Time to hop, step, jump my way to victory, and running, bam! Pull the lever, Crunk. Kerchunk. Wrong. Oh, actually, you got it, buddy. Wardrobe transition, go!
Time to disarm those guards with my special move. Vanishing booze. Hey guys, what's that on your face? It was pain. Ew, gross. It got on me. I'm both respecting the plan by hiding silently, but asserting our friendship status to the reader with loud, pointless arguing anyway.
Aha! I knew you didn't believe in Ohada.
There's the signal. Look, over there. Is it a god? Is it certain doom? It's actually our friend who we helped dress up like a god. Time to follow him.
As if questioning his friend's intelligence, Beanie makes sure to tell them to follow a second time, just in case no one was paying attention. And so, our heroes begin their desperate sprint toward their mission objective. Starving, straggling sleuths steadily sidestep swarming soldiers seeking spoils. One punch! Huh. Big save.
Cue the sirens. Oh crap. What we thought was a trap is in fact a trap. We gotta stick together. And he's gone. Wait, come back. I said stick together or we'll get caught and die. And then one did get caught and potentially died. Dun dun dun.
They didn't stick around to find out. Okay, final plan. Don't look back. But, oh, there's the exit. We made it, Beanie! I said as I looked back with a posed look. Just once I wish we would stick to the plan. And on that day, Eli was weighed down by his betrayal of the plan. So much so, he was literally forced down to the ground.
Time to make our favorite delicacy, boys. Skewered sewer rat. I'll prepare the meat. I saw this technique on YouTube once. Forward running. Single slash. And I'll gut it with a sequel. Forward running. Single stab. Add a little tenderizing. Sadism should be consensual, people. Ouch. That's gotta hurt.
Aw, look at the cute puppies, little shadows of doom. Bye-bye, have fun playing with your new guard friends. How sweet. Here's another one about to give the main character a big ol' hug because he's scared and crying. His shadow stopped the nefarious little glomper in its tracks. Power is get. Obviously, he can use it because of his secretive past, and he fell. Is his potentially dead friend back? We'll find out next time on ShadowBorn.
All right. Hope you were entertained by that summary, because we sure had fun putting that together for you. Now then, I didn't think I need to tell you all, but we are now taking off the buckle your seatbelt sign, because you are free to roam about the cabin, as we will hopefully have you laughing at this deliberation. Ooh.
Alright, passengers, this is Necrosama again. So you already know, if you checked out the channel before, we talk about the series in 4 parts. We have art, we have characters, we got that story, and last but not least, we have our overall opinions. So let's jump right into our first section. Art. Anyone want to go first?
I guess I'll go. I thought the art was pretty good. It wasn't anything that I guess stood out to me that make me question their decision of how things were drawn or anything. Thought the anatomy was nice. Characters were expressive, like in terms of the way that they were designed. So thought the art was nice. Had decent backgrounds. Action lines where they were necessary. The fight poses were pretty good, because fight poses is something I personally struggle with. But I think overall the art was really nice.
I don't tend to like to sit on the fence, but for me, nothing really. It wasn't the best, and it definitely was not the worst that we've seen what we together. For me, at least, the characters were all right. They weren't too crazy. They weren't bad. I'll tell you that much. There's a certain page. Page 39, just the claw looked a little weird to me. Other than that, it works for me. This is a really gray series, if that makes sense.
I'm not sure gray is how I would put it.
How would you put it?
Like, Exogenesis was great. This is just relatively decent screen tone usage.
No. Exogenesis was black and dark red.
Well, this being gray is just because of how screen tones are. We saw a lot of the real protagonist, and, he's got the dark hair and darker skin, and he wears pants that are also toned in the grayish type thing, so he gets shown a lot, so that makes all the scenes he's in look grayer than everything else in it. So, aside from him, there isn't really too much that's gray, per se. There's hatch lines for shading and, hatch lines for motion, but it's really just him that's really gray to me.
I actually liked the art. It's simplistic, but that isn't necessarily a bad thing. it's something that the author kept up the whole time. And one thing that I appreciated was there's a lot of hands in this manga that are drawn. Like, they didn't shy away from hands, because hands are something that can really cause a lot of people trouble. And while they're doing a lot of the same kind of hand, like, gestures or, like, poses that I guess they're more comfortable with, at least they aren't cutting them out of the panels completely. You guys also know, I like it when they add, characters that aren't actually people, so with the little shadow beast, things, those were interesting to see. And though I don't fully get it, I liked the addition of them. Not too complicated, not too simple. It's in a good place for me, art-wise.
For me, the art for ShadowBorn, it's in a weird place for me. I think, I will say this much, I think the composition, the layouts, the choice in perspective for a decent chunk of the panels was pretty impressive to me. I feel like if the anatomy caught up to it, I think I would like the style a lot more. Because, like, the anatomy is functional, but it's just missing that secret sauce. But I feel like that's just something that'll come with practice.
What gives it the secret sauce?
Like that profession, like that finesse, like that. I don't know. Like if the proportions were just a little bit more accurate, because they look static, they look stale. Because if going back through the chapter, there were one-off shots that could have looked a lot better if the anatomy were just slightly more on point. Like sometimes the eyes will be like, so like I noticed what this artist does is a lot of times the face, like the eyes will be pushed too close together, or maybe the shape of the jaw will be funny.
I get what you're saying about the eyes. I don't always necessarily mind it as much. I would say the staticness could... The staticness of some of the poses can really be felt in some scenes worse than others. Some, I think it depends. Is there any way that you would fix that? Like how would you fix that? So, like, on the last page, do you think the last page is good? Or, like, how would you try to edit that to make it better if it's not good? And this is just a genuine question. I'm not trying to patronize you or put you on the spot.
No, you're fine. If we're talking about the last page in general, well, the last page actually doesn't look too bad to me, actually. The last page looks good to me, actually, kind of.
Okay.
Better
actually,
than a
it
lot
looks
of the
good,
other
but
shots.
kind of. Yeah. Is there, like, a very specific page you were thinking of when you were saying that it's very static or stale?
I'm in the wrong thing. Page 37.
Ooh, okay.
The panel toward the bottom where main character Kun, or Dreads McGee here, is like looking over his shoulder.
Yeah.
This is one of those cases where I feel like the eyes are pushed too close together. They're like shifted like toward one side of the face. And to be honest, the thing is, it's hard for me to explain. Like, it's hard for me. I know what I'm trying to say, but it's hard for me to articulate it because anatomy is something that's very difficult, and I try to really, really take that into consideration. Which is why, like, I honestly think that if we're putting like the anatomy aside, I think the composition-wise, this chapter has potential in my eyes, personally. And it's not so much a question of fix. I think the word would be more like refine.
Sometimes I use the wrong word. But yeah, no, I agree with that. Fix was a bad choice of wording. Because it's not like there's anything necessarily, like, wrong or broken about it. It was just, like, something that you said needed to be improved. How would you improve it? Is maybe the way they drew the hair in that last panel that you're talking about part of the issue, or like, because I just genuinely don't know.
You know what? That actually does raise a good point. Because I think because of the style of his hair, since he has such thick dreads, like it's easy to make them too thick or too thin in some panels. And more often than not, like looking back through the art, like the artist usually chooses to make the dreads thicker. And it's not a bad thing, but like you want to keep things relative when you're doing proportions and anatomy and making sure like you know, what's the word? Basically, there's a balancing scale. There's a sweet spot for how for how thick you'd want to make the hair.
All right. All right, passengers. We're gonna move on to section 2. Characters. Let's start off with, of course, the main character, Mr. ShadowBorn himself, Greg McGee.
Eli.
Eli. Right.
Or Ellie.
Yeah, we're really not sure which pronunciation is correct.
I don't want to assume one or the other.
Eli.
Oh, it's ELY. That's the thing.
What did I say?
You put an. I thought you said an I, but.
I put I? Wow. All right, so Ellie Eli. ShadowBorn. All right, so what do we get from him? We know he's tall.
Ew.
What is
We
happening?
know what's happening. That's not me. That's the bad kind of ASMR, guys.
Yeah, what's happening over there?
All right, try again.
Somebody's getting a snack.
All right,
It's a
so
joke.
Who's getting a snack?
I don't know. It was a joke. There was just rustling, and normally that means that somebody's getting food.
all right, so Ellie Eli. Yes, so what do we get from him? He's either homeless or impoverished of some way.
He lives kind of dangerously because his outfit has like the one ripped pant leg, and then he's got the bandages around his tummy. And then his outfit needs to be multi-purpose because he's got the scarf and then like the like knitted arm thing, but also no undershirt and like no belts because his pants like is broken, so he's got like that thing there holding it up. So like multi-purpose, multi-seasonal outfit, but has, like I said, probably made some more sort of mistake to get that leg like that.
He's one of those. For me, he's one of those. He seems to be one of those. He's not a hyperactive knucklehead.
It seems like he just wants to get off the streets, but he keeps going into this routine of like continuing to, you know, be on the streets.
Do odd jobs to like stealing stuff. Like needs to get some money to get off the streets. Personality wise, he's not your hyperactive knucklehead. He's not the energetic idiot. If that makes sense. He doesn't seem to be that kind of guy. He's not your Naruto or your Asuka.
Well, yeah, because he's not.
He seems to be more, what is it? He thinks he uses his head. He doesn't show all his, he doesn't wear his emotions on the sleeve type of guy, right? Mm-hmm.
He is a teenager with a goal, but he doesn't quite know how to achieve that goal, so he ends up in the same traps of turning to the only thing he knows, which is to take from others, which he doesn't want to do, but he doesn't really know what else to do. So the cycle continues.
And he doesn't even know how he got here because he has some tragic backstory that he doesn't even remember, which I guess is kind of what gives him purpose to keep moving forward.
Like, he's one of the quiet guys, but he doesn't fade into the shadows.
He's also not completely, like, the serious, like, quiet type either, though, because he will argue with his friend. Well, his kind of friend.
Associate.
Yeah, in like a comedic way, but it's not like straight up slapstick, or is it in a way that makes you not take him seriously.
Yeah, I enjoyed him. He didn't seem to fade to the background, but at the same time, he wasn't overshadowing the other characters. It wasn't a look at me, look at me, look at me, look at me, look at me. It's just the main character and here's the story.
I think a good term would be like a realist, just because in the very beginning he's given a sandwich and he sees like this other starving kid who's much younger than him crying, and he's just like, this is just how life is. You have to do things for yourself. Like, feeling sorry for others, you can only do that if you're in a situation to, and he's like, and I just can't, that's not my situation. Like, and honestly, that's a hard situation to be in, but at least he's truthful about it.
He's a product of his environment.
Yes.
So yes, naturally he'd be a realist.
What's that quote from my deck of seven? Don't bet. Do it yourself. You won't get in.
He seems jaded, but again, that's just him being a product of his environment.
Next character, unless somebody else has something else to say.
No one else has said anything about it.
Main character, I mean, he's alright. Like, honestly, I didn't have any issue with him, but it's like I wasn't like glued to him as I thought I would be. Which is not really to say that he's written poorly. It's just that, he's just your run-of-the-mill street kid. But it was also interesting, though, when he did get that sandwich and he saw another kid crying, he said, "No, I need to finish this sandwich, dog."
Hell, I'm not no shining white knight. I need to eat too.
Right, like, I need to eat, bruh. And you better see if my man's got the other half somewhere. Or good luck, because it's my sandwich, dog.
I think also because he was just like, I was in your situation before, so you're either going to live by doing, or...
That's right.
Yeah. Which gave us a good glimpse into our background of the series and of our character. So I appreciated that scene, though it was sad to look at.
But I am interested to see the relationship he has with these other two. Because, we see that he's one of those. I know I said I'm done with you all, but survival is more important than my petty gripes with you. So let's get this mission done. So I'm interested to see what his gripes are.
All right.
Are they really gripes, though?
I didn't think he had any gripes. I thought he was just like, I'm done with being a street kid.
I just feel like there's something deeper. It might just be my own desires of it not just being, I don't want to rob, so I can't be around you guys. I just hope that there is something with the other two that he has a problem with. That would just make it more interesting, in my opinion.
Remember page 3 and 4. He's like, I don't know who I am. How can I die without that knowledge? I must have been a survivor, but why? Why did I survive only to end up living like this? I've got these memories. Right? So something happened. I'm guessing he wants to figure out what happened. Right?
Mm-hmm.
The only thing that confuses me about that line was when he says, "I must have been a survivor."
What's that to get?
Like, again, this is probably just a personal thing. I don't know. Maybe I'm misinterpreting this. Maybe I'm just overthinking it. But when I first read that, I got the impression that from a narrative standpoint, he knows more than he knows more than he thinks he knows.
It could be repressed. Because sometimes when you live through something traumatic, you only remember flashes. Especially with the little pictures that were shown. It's like a bunch of corpses near what I can only assume is that gigantic looming tower that I've been thinking about in the thing, in the beginning. Because it's kind of rounded and has like engravings on it. But all he remembers is just a flash of dead bodies.
Should we move on to Double D? South Hatmore. I think I said his name once, right?
Oh, Head and Sock Sloan Boy. Okay.
Yeah, Double D, remember? Ed and Eddie.
Hey, look. First of all, nothing against this character here, but don't disrespect Double D by comparing him to him.
I mean, but that's what he said, though.
Top hat. Thoughts from the Leo.
I think it's Leo.
Yeah, Leo.
I didn't hate Leo, because Leo is doing this dude a solid. Our main character has decided to like not hang out and help with them anymore, even though they were all a trio, and his friends against letting him back, and Leo's just like, you want to know what? Like, no matter what happens, we've always stuck together. We're gonna continue to stick together. We have a job. Like, let's just do this. And then even, like, Leo is very much just wants them all to get out of everything alive and, you know, just stay together. But even in the worst of times, he cares enough about the main character to not drag the main character down with him. So I can appreciate that a little bit as like a side character, because I don't know if we'll see any more of Leo after this as himself.
I got a good feel for Leo's personality. He seems like the planner, the leader of the group, the front runner. Like, for the most part, he was very consistent throughout this chapter, and I appreciated that.
He also knows magic.
He's also a good friend, too, because, like, Eli keeps jumping in and out of the group, and Leo just keeps letting him back in, and I'm like, they must really be friends, or they must really go back.
Well,
I was also, sorry.
He's obviously the calculating one. He's the one that comes up with the plan. He's the one that gets the score. So I'm sure he probably expected Eli to come back. He honestly probably plans for this. From what I'm looking at, it's like, okay. For me, he just seems like, since he's the leader, he seems, the way they portrayed him through the chapter, he seemed like the calculating type. Just he came up with the plans. He comes with plans to get rid of the guards. When they got caught, he had to come up with a plan to try to get them to escape, or at least get Eli to escape. And then, in the end, it's like, maybe he's a traitor, or maybe like he planned for them to get caught. But for some reason, he ended up there. I don't understand how he ended up there. I still don't understand that.
I thought that part was like part of the shadow power thing, like that wasn't really him and he was more of a puppet. But the traitor angle is also an interesting one. I wanted to take like a little jab though, because I couldn't fit this in the summary or anything. I said that Leo has magic because there's this page where he has a disappearing booze bottle. Like, he has it and he's pretending to be drunk and it's there and then it's gone in a flash and I was like, where'd it go? And it was just very short-lived, so that was just a little joke. He's not actually full of magic powers in the current canon of Chapter 1.
Would you rather
start with Blondie?
Yeah, start with number Trace.
I mean, he was cool. He seems like he's I don't want to say comic relief, but he's like the loose cannon of the group. It's like the spunkier one, the one that says more of what comes to his mind. Like, one of the more fearless ones. just like impatient and just, dashes off to get things done.
Sure, he wasn't just a little stupid.
I don't know about stupid.
I
He had a
wouldn't-
stupid moment when he just they were like, all right, let's go, and then he just runs. But well, I wouldn't say he's stupid. Though I am wondering if this is the last we see of him though, because my man got stabbed pretty bad.
Page 24.
Yeah.
Were you guys sad when he was stabbed? Was it a shock?
Nope.
Like, was it a shock at all, or were you like, of course he got stabbed?
He
Yes,
seems like a knucklehead.
He rushes off forward without any kind of planning or forewarning whatsoever. Yes, he's the dumb one.
I was gonna say they did foreshadow it. They're like, don't split up or we'll die. Like, don't rush off by yourselves. And then he immediately is like, go. Oh no, they do say his name in the chapter. It says Mikhail. Wait, dang it, stick to the plan on page 26.
You see that? He's so insignificant. They even told us and we didn't notice they told us.
Mikhail,
Page 24.
Michael.
You're up. Let's go.
Oh, yep. They also say it on 24. So they do say his name.
He's still important.
They told us twice and we didn't recognize it. He's irrelevant.
To be fair, the second time was very small.
Not the first time.
They tend to have the fonts, and this is, I don't know, is this just a plus manga thing? Because they have the fonts really small in some places and really big in others, and that makes it difficult to read. For me.
I can see that.
What else from Plus Manga had that? Because
I was asking if that was another, is there was another thing that we read in Plus Manga that did this? Because I thought there was another series that we read that had this problem, but I didn't know if it was Plus Manga.
no, that was XL that pointed that out.
Okay.
All right. Cool. Any other characters worth mentioning?
No.
We can talk
The
about
puppies?
the door.
No.
We can talk about the puppies?
No.
It was the joke. Moving on.
The
Puppy,
big door.
Night. The big door. She's almost talking about the big door.
Yeah.
The big door.
Yeah. The one that number 3 was trying to open. But he didn't really get to do it correctly because, he is who he is. So
A character has a door. It ain't do nothing.
it had a whole arc. It was introduced. It was an obstacle. They did not overcome the threshold guardian that is this door, and they had to turn away and run. Full arc. It did its job. That's way more than what Mikhail did.
Mikhail.
That's all I got to say about the door. Better than Mikhail. That's all I got.
All right, passengers, we're going to go on to part 3, story. Take it away, Stormrave. You go first.
This might just be me, but personally, the plot didn't feel very streamlined.
For the audience and all those passengers, what do you mean by streamlined?
The main idea wasn't presented in a way where you understand why everything's happening. I don't know, just one line of dialogue, because, and here's the thing. I understand that their goal is to get off the streets. I understand that they were in a...
Is that their goal?
Yes, sure, for lack of a better word. I understand that they're in a pinch right now. But given that there was given that Eli said that he believes that he's a survivor of something, we still don't know what that know what that is. And again, it doesn't have to be an info dump, but just one line of dialogue or a narration, talking about just hinting towards what the larger plot is actually about.
Well,
again, this may just be me, but that's the impression that I got.
Well, I personally disagree. From what I got, okay, yeah, he doesn't want to be on the streets. Also, something happened in his past, which, if we keep reading, I'm sure we're going to find out about. I'm sure that has something to do with the main plot. I think the getting off the streets is just his current situation, and that's not going to last long at all. And then by the end of the chapter, the whole the whole getting the money thing, the whole mission, I'm sure that had maybe 10% at most to do with the actual story. It's, yo, we're gonna try to get this money real quick so we can get off the street. That was just put there to lead us into the last few pages of the chapter of this dude has shadow powers and what the crap. And that's what the actual story is going to be about, him and his shadow powers. And I'm guessing people coming after him for his shadow powers or him trying to do something with these shadow powers. Like, that's the actual story there. Started on page, 36. Everything was leading up to this, and this is where the story actually starts.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to. Yeah, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna give a shout out to Mark Crilly. Watching some of his videos, and he said something that kind of sticks out to me here. It's when you're writing a beginning of a story, more or less, you show one of the ways he does it is you show how life currently is, or was before the story actually starts. You show how life is, and then something happens to change it. His life, I'm living on the streets, and what happened to change it? I have shadow powers now, and I just took out all these guards with these shadow powers. And now we're going to find out what is going to happen with this kid with these shadow powers. Like, that's what the story is for me.
I'm gonna pull a Akashing and then say everything that I was about to just say, he just said. So, whatever Necro-sama just said, that's my answer. No, like legit. I was literally about to come up with that same reference that Mark created because I actually watched that video earlier today. Because you could already see like this, like what they were doing today, not this specific mission, but them going around stealing stuff from people is a usual day in the life for them because he's been out of the gang so many different times. Because as he said, like, yeah, I said I was done with you guys, and he's not a novice at doing these things. So like obviously doing missions like this is just second nature. But this time they did, I'm guessing, something that's harder, and people got popped. And then now the story is starting now because now the stage is set. Ooh, and now he got his shadow powers. Okay, now we go from here. Just like I think Game of Thrones also did the same thing. Where, I mean, well, their initial thing, we saw the White Walkers, and they became more important as the story went on later. But before we knew about, like, the main characters of the story, like the Starks and the Lannisters and all that type of stuff, we just saw, like, a completely unrelated scene with the White Walkers to set the stage before the story got started. So, I was fine with this as chapter 1. In terms of the story.
You got a response to that, Storm Red, or
Yeah.
anyone else want to go?
Hearing that, maybe I was just overthinking it.
Anyone else want to add on?
If we never go to that tower that was like shown in the very beginning, I'm gonna take away points because it is an absurdly tall tower in the center of all these tall buildings that's like overshadowing them by like a bunch. So if we never go there, I will take away points just because, like, why include it? I agree that the beginning, like, showing us like a day and like what his life was before the powers was a good choice to like display it. What I liked was as soon as he gets these powers, you're just assuming like, oh, like he's got power control and he's the main character, so he's gonna be OP. And then like he immediately just falls over and faints. And I loved that so much because like having powers and then immediately being able to use them, I always felt was kind of like kind of a cheap tactic because they're brand new to you. And like that's gotta take a lot of energy. And then dude's just like, I'm gonna be OP. Time for naps. And I liked that a lot, just from a reading standpoint, because that also gives us like we get to learn how his powers work and also see how he learns how to control said powers. So I think that leaves it open for a lot of interesting things in the future as well.
Didn't they already show him with a decent amount of control though?
Kind of, but like rather than full control, like, and then being OP, he falls over to take a dirt nap for a while.
He falls over because of blood loss, Mel. It's not from
Is
using the
that
ability.
blood loss? Can't
It says it on the last page. I lost too much blood. Maybe this is really it. Because, you know, he got hit too on the way out with the spears and whatnot.
Then redacted.
He is running around flinging that large claw of doom around like it's just an extension of his arm. Which is funny because it is an extension of his arm. But all I'm saying is, you know, he ain't a straight novice with this.
Dude, I thought, okay, just hear me out. I thought from reading it that it was like, I thought basically it was like, well, because we've already been able to see without the shadow powers that he can do this up a tree. So like that wasn't too big of a stretch, to me at least, because he's doing this up trees, which is way harder than I think going straight in a straight line on the ground, like zigzagging back and forth. Because up the tree you're fighting gravity and all other sorts of nonsense. I do think that like the convenient power get when I'm about to die is convenient, but it also makes sense because like your body is meant to like just try to survive. That I felt this before, but where like automatically makes you go to, oh, did you maybe kill all those people in your flashback? Hopefully not, but you know.
Pretty sure that's the reason they dropped that line.
Wait, they dropped it?
No, as in they dropped the I felt this before, but where
Gotcha,
line.
gotcha,
I'm pretty
gotcha,
sure that's
gotcha,
why they
gotcha.
dropped that.
Dude, I thought you meant like, in the actual other version of this chapter, and I was like, what? But no, I get you.
Plot twist, we find out he was the one that killed all those people in the first few pages.
I mean, yeah, that does make you question. Especially because he has no control over that shadow that looks like him, and also over all these puppies who happen to just conveniently show up when he got his powers.
Yeah, and I really want to find out how Leo ties into it. What happened at the end?
I'm voting that Leo's some shadow puppet. But that's just me.
There's more to him than meets the eye. Also, what do they call them? The Gloombergs or whatever?
Bloomberg?
Yes.
That has to be a dig at Bloomberg, man.
Bloomberg?
Obscenely wealthy benefactor. Look him up. He's an actual person. Has a whole lot of money. Don't mean to drop this out, but he tried to run for president. Didn't work out too well, even with this large swaths of money. I just found that interesting that Gloomsburg was pretty much derived from that name. Which fits here because apparently this Gloomsburg family is obscenely rich and just sits on their wealth, looking down at all the poor denizens in the slums. Like, look at them scurrying around for breadcrumbs. We have whole slices of bread up here. Or something like that. But, yeah. We're probably not going to find out who they actually are, but I just found that an interesting touch as far as the narrative goes.
Mm-hmm. Anyone else have anything on story?
No.
He's so dead.
Alright, so bet. Alright, so boom. Passengers. Part 4 overall. Emil, you go first.
Overall, I enjoyed it. It was interesting enough to where it didn't make me check out. So like, I didn't have any major problems with it. The art wasn't too hard to follow. I would keep reading. Like, I would like to go on to chapter 2.
Okay.
Also, I had a quick question, but people were barking in the background for y'all. What would you do if in the next chapter, the main character was just dead and Leo was our protagonist from here on out?
Drop it.
JoJo's.
I'd love it.
JoJo's Bizarre
Because in the last 2 panels, I believe, and the last 2 were like the Leo coming out of the shadows, right?
Coming out of the darkness.
Yeah, and he's got like the shadowy stuff around him, and I was like, technically Leo is also Shadowborn. So like that would be an amazing plot twist. I doubt it would happen, but
I don't think that's shadows though. That's the thing.
well, no, I know. I also think it's probably not true, but like I said, it would definitely be shocking to me.
It would, because despite the backgrounds they've had for the latter half of this chapter, this is all taking place at night, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Overall, I enjoyed it. It saved. It was going to be a no for me to go on to the next chapter, because not that it was a bad chapter, but in the beginning, while reading it, it wasn't standing out enough for me to be like, oh, I got to see what's happening next. But it got saved as soon as I saw my mans in the do-rag show up at the last page. So I want to see what the heck that's all about. So, yes, I'm going on to the next chapter. Well, I vote to go to the next chapter.
All right.
Is that a do-rag?
It's not.
I just call it a do-rag.
Oh, okay.
Sock hat.
Thought it was a
All right.
beanie.
Tease up.
So, once again, need to bring back the classic line. It's time for the serious opinion. So, in all seriousness, with the way this started, I kind of had a similar feeling as Akashic did in regard to, I don't dislike what I'm looking at, but I also wouldn't like to go on. But then that massive door came into the picture, and it did Mikhail's job better. It actually succeeded in the one thing it was brought into this chapter to do. And I'm like, you know what? Okay. Honestly, I thought they were going to be able to break in and get the stuff and get out, but, you know, it actually stopped them. So I'm like, cool. Diverted my expectation a little bit there. But then, on the escape, and then the separation, and I'm like, oh, check this out. Even more. They went in as 3. They went in as they came out as less than 3. Oh, snap. How about that? So, thinking, you know, real protagonist, gonna get cornered, bust out some magical power that ties into the title of the story. Unsurprisingly, that mostly happened. But then, he quits life, gives up the ghost. And what is he greeted with? What may or may not be the ghost of his actual friend Leo. The sock head. The head and sock slum boy. Also known as the thinker. Also known as the plan producer. Also known as the brain. And then, that's when I was like, all right, let's see where this goes. I vote yes.
All right. Stormwrath.
Now that I've had a chance to think more about it, I would say yes. I would definitely go to the next chapter. And for me, I'm the type of guy where it doesn't really take much to impress me sometimes, depending on how it's done. That little nugget in the very beginning, the one that really confused me about the I must be a survivor of something. I personally think that could have been executed better, but it was enough to make me think, okay, so yes, there's definitely more going on to this story. And I think that is what adds weight to the whole shadow, like him breaking out the shadow powers later in the chapter. I think that's the reason why that moment had even more weight to me, is because of that little thought that Eli had in the beginning of the chapter. Also, side note, I think that I wouldn't be surprised at all if there's going to be a growing trend of people creating stories where their main character has some sort of shadow powers. But aside from that, yeah, I continue. It led me in. Like, the story was simple for the most part. So yeah, I would continue. There was just enough to hook me to go to the next chapter.
Growing trend of shadow power.
I was about to be like, is that a jab
I said,
at
don't be
me?
surprised.
Yes, it is. Yes,
Is
it
that
is.
a
He
jab
taking
at
shots.
me?
He taking shots at you, dog. What you gonna do about it?
No, because my main character has something similar to shadow powers too.
No one care about your
And
dark
there it is.
eye.
There it is.
No one cares.
Okay, this is about him and not me. I was like,
It was about both of us because I know
You see?
it was about both of us, and then I see a third one, and it was like I didn't even. I said, don't be surprised if this becomes a trend.
I thought you said you. Never mind. Still. Oh.
I wasn't trying to point out any one specific series. I was just making an observation, just making
This
a slight
series, though,
prediction.
has nothing to do with my shadow powers. At all, though. How you said it makes it seem like we're both like, oh yeah, ShadowBorn did this thing, and now we're gonna do this thing. Like, no.
No, we did this before ShadowBorn. I literally, because both.
Okay, first of
your
all, you don't
series were
exactly know
popular.
that.
Can we just cut that part out, please, for my
Cut.
Personally,
sanity?
I think you shouldn't. I love it, but yeah.
I don't.
Yes, we gotta keep it. Keep it as a blooper at the very least. Put it at the end.
Oh,
Put it
yeah,
at the
no.
very end.
Let's do bloopers. Yes, at the end of the video.
Look,
Make it fun.
I was actually thinking about keeping the bloopers as like an end of the year thing. Like we edit them all together as like funs, fun things.
Why does
It's
it
a lot
bother you
of
so
going
much,
back.
Emil?
Because I literally the way that you said it makes it sound like that we read Shadowborn and we were like, yeah, I have to do this too, and that's not accurate. So don't include me in that. You can do what you do.
I was literally just saying. I was just pointing out something that just popped into my head.
I know, but it's just the way that you said it.
Like, just I personally, okay, rephrase. I would not be surprised if more series started popping up where the main character had some type of dark or some sort of seemingly evil powers. Also, there's a fourth series that popped into my head.
Dude, that's not exactly
The third,
a
actually.
concept anymore.
Necrosoma's gonna give his opinion. All in all, overall, it's alright. Yeah. Necrosoma ranks it a good, 6, 7 out of 10. It's cool. That ending though, spot on. For me, that's how you end the chapter for me. Like, okay, powers activate. Then no better time than any in the chapter powers activate happens. But then Double D Leo at the end showing up after everything. We thought he got captured. He supposed to be in his old guard's outfit. Like that little bit of intrigue, it makes you want to read the next chapter. For me, at least, I didn't really care too much about everything before the mission itself. The beginning was okay. Yeah, okay. Oh, he's on the street. And somebody threw him a sandwich and he ate the dang on thing. He wasn't like, yo, I want to eat your sloppy seconds. Like, nah, I'm hungry. I'm gonna eat this, and I ain't giving this to no little kid. So, I like the beginning. I really like the end. I'll definitely read the next chapter, see where it goes.
Attention passengers, we have concluded the deliberations, so we're gonna flick that seatbelt light on because I suggest you click it. I mean, I would say take it here, but we really can't do that. So anyway, put on your safety devices. We're about to go down to the airport so we can let you fools off of here in one piece, hopefully.
All right, passengers, this is your Captain Necrosama speaking, and we've reached the end of the flight. This has been Top Flight Reads ShadowBorn, published by Plus Manga, created by DeAndre Buffett, Elijah Shaman, and Ozer. If you liked this video, feel free to leave a like. If you didn't like it, tell us why in the comments. If there's anything you agree with or disagree with, post a comment. If you like videos like this, we have a playlist with other series. If you like this series in particular, check the description below and we'll send you to where you can read it. Leave subscribe if you like videos like this. All right, yeah, that's about it. See y'all next week. Flight attendants, co-pilot, say goodbye to the people.
Thank you for choosing Top Flight Reads. This is your flight attendant, Stormwave. Please be sure to leave your Rice Krispie treat wrappers in the appropriate disposable waste bins on your way out of the plane. And I will see you guys next week.
Yeah, heal the earth.
All right, guys, thank you for joining us for another week of Top Flight Reads. We're excited for you all to join us next week for Chapter 2. Until then, peace out.
Thank you for flying with us. I hope you all have a wonderful day. Bye!